Okay, so let's go over the Sherlock Holmes assignment. This is an assignment that's going to teach you basically threading text boxes and doing some typesetting things. So I'm not going to go over all that with you because that's what you learn in the lesson in the chapter. But a couple of things that I've noticed grading other people's assignments that they missed. First of all, you have to make sure that these are 3 separate frames that are threaded. So you should be able to see this connecting thread, this red thread line going from the first to the second and the second to the third. So what a couple of people have done before is instead what they do is they create one giant text box that has 3 columns, and that is not what you want to see because I want to make sure that you can do automatic threading of text frames. Make sure you keep the text within the margins. You cannot go past this margin line right here. Remember that margins allow breathing room, white space, but also if you were to print this on a desktop printer, it allows some buffer space from when it's spraying the ink to when it's not so that your printer doesn't gunk up. So that's why most printers cannot print to the edge of paper. So make sure you leave those. And then the next thing is that, let's see, the font. Now, it says in there that it should be Book Antigua, but as long as it's a serif font that is easy to read, then that is fine. A serif font tends to be very traditional, and since this is Sherlock Holmes, it makes sense for this. And then you can choose a font that looks similar to, I think it says Blackadder is the recommended font for this assignment, but go ahead and choose one that kind of looks like handwriting or something that looks like it's from that time and is still very easy to read. Now, when you also come in here, it's going to talk about how to do some typesetting, like how to get this indent into all of the paragraphs. So when you highlight them, first you have to delete the tabs that were there. Then you highlight them and you come over to this paragraph area, and this is where you're going to say the first line of every paragraph should be indented 3.3125. Now, so what that means is when I come to grade this, I shouldn't see like a manual tab right here. So if I were to delete this first line indent on this one paragraph and just hit tab, see how it has this little symbol, these 2 red arrows? That's telling me that you manually indented using the tab, and that is not what you should be doing. That is not proper typesetting for any document. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And again, what you should be doing is highlighting everything and saying the first line, oops, that's not the first line, sorry. The first line indent should be 0.3125. All right, so when you do that though, this heading that you add automatically gets that indent, and then it's gonna look like it's centered, but it's kind of off center. So what I'm looking for here is that you actually center it. So I'm gonna highlight it and look and see if that button is pressed. Now, when you do center it, it doesn't look centered again because you have this extra space probably like right here, and that's because it's picking up that first line indent. So not only do you have to center that, but you need to bring it back to 0 first line indent so that it truly looks like it is centered. Now, in my opinion, I would also add some space before the paragraph just to give it a little bit of buffer room. That is totally up to you if you want to do that, but if I were actually designing this, that is what I would do. Now, another trick is that I'm going to hit the W key. Actually, you have to be out of the text frame, otherwise it'll just type W. But if you type W, or you just hit W on your keyboard and you hit it again and again and again, you can toggle it back and forth. But this gives you the print preview, so you can see all those lines are gone and see what it would look like there. So now that looks like an easy to read text document.